about it this way. So look at solar panels. That is sort of like photosynthesis because you're converting the energy from the sun into something that we can use, right? Photosynthesis at its base is plants converting the energy from the sun into something they can use, which, if very specifically for photosynthesis, is carbohydrates and oxygen, like what it said, which those are forms of energy which the plant can use. Solar panels is sort of like humans' way of photosynthesizing sunlight into something that we can use. We turn it into electricity, which then we can use.
Yeah, man. I love my solar panels. Saves me a lot of money.
Yeah, I reckon there should be solar panels on every roof.
Well, I think it's a big thing for advancing the species, man. Like, and for us sticking around as a bunch of like humans. Like, if we keep
bastards,
if we keep
my house is
if we keep raping the earth for a little bit off the coal and plutonium and whatever the hell, there's only so much of that the earth can provide. And so, at very worst, we're going to kill everything if we keep on that current trajectory. But in terms of how much energy the sun can provide, I mean, we've still got thousands of years before that thing runs out, right?
And then you've got
the sun will end up eating us.
So gravity,
but we've got hopefully
you can use gravity.
Hopefully humans are still around by that time, and hopefully humans have gotten to a point where they're not so reliant on living in this particular sphere. They don't have to live on the earth right now. They can move before the sun eats us. But we're not going to be able to move until we can harness solar power. And
there's other renewable energies as well, like hydroelectricity.
Gravity, sure.
So water flowing downhill. You can harness that power.
And
then you can use part of that power to pump the water back up the hill. And then you can create
that's the old,
positive...
what do they call those things? Those wheels?
Water wheels, man.
Water mills.
So that's actually a sustainable source. It's a sustainable source of electricity. It costs slightly less electricity to pump the water back up again so that it will fall down than what that water will generate because you're taking advantage of gravity.
And that's one of the guiding principles of the universe. The law of gravity.
Yeah, if the sun dies, we still have that.
Sure.
So it's potentially infinite.
We still have gravity. We still have electromagnetism.
Yeah,
we still have quasars. All of these things.
So what, you're assuming that we've actually managed to piss off from Earth?
We'll still have gravity. If we manage to piss off from Earth before the sun dies, we will still have gravity.
The sun will eat us before it dies. It'll become a red giant before it dies.
Not if we've moved to Pluto.
Oh, yeah. I don't know much about star life cycles.
Yeah, they get bigger and hotter.
Billions of years.
And then they...
Yeah.
They sort of implode.
It's not going to die tomorrow.
Yeah, but what if we figure out immortality in the next 20 years and then we all last forever?
Sorry?
What if we figure out immortality
in the next... If Elon Musk figures it out?
Like, within our lifetimes and then... Well...
No.
I don't want to be immortal.
Well, it's not going to happen anyway.
It's sort of shit for anyone who lives in millennia.
You might be able to upload your memories to some cloud, but that's not you.
Some level of consciousness.
That's what you are. Your consciousness.
No, I don't think that's going to work. I really doubt that'll work. I know some people think
rather reincarnation
that could be a thing. I just don't see it working, though.
Why?
Can you imagine uploading your consciousness? How is that going to work?
You would have to achieve consciousness within an AI first to be able to then read and understand what someone's consciousness is to then make a copy of it. You pretty much have to make a copy of it and then upload it. That's the way that you would do it. So you need to be able to,
Oh, shit.
You need to be able to actually fully scan someone's consciousness and a computer to be able to understand that. So it'd be like your potential responses to anything that
the barriers, They're the barriers.
And then upload that and then, even download it back into something which that consciousness can then exist and, output back again. So like, a robot, right? You put the consciousness in a robot and then it can be interacted with again. Like the consciousness can be interacted with. At the moment,
this is the contemporary debate. Everybody's talking about AI at the moment. Everybody,
true.
Everybody's talking about it.
True.
Some Elon Musk's Neuralink.
Oh my god!
We watched that
I'm not a
video
fan of that at all.
It raises a lot of terrifying ideas, doesn't it?
It does. A lot of terrifying ideas.
Yeah. So they put about 10,000 tiny little hair-like probes into your brain to measure your. You've seen the.
I've seen. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I'm doing a very quick explanation for the viewers.
Teach Jeremy, because I know exactly what you're talking about.
He watched it as well.
Oh, right.
Okay, that's what he's saying.
The point being is they put all these little probes into someone's brain, and they're all connected to a central chip, which is also underneath the scalp. So it's all inside your head. And basically those probes, there's 10,000 of them plus, all linked into your brain, and they can read and write. So what they can do is they can read what your brain is thinking, and then translate that into text, whatever, whatever you're thinking. If you're thinking words, they can.
I want to see it.
Can come up. Yeah,
I want to see if
they
it
haven't
actually
tested
works.
it on humans yet.
But testing on humans, that's a whole other thing too.
Yeah.
Raises all kinds of
chucking wires into people's heads and seeing if you can read their mind.
So the terrifying thing was, because you've got the wires in your head, right? You've got the Neuralink in your head, and it's read and write. So what it can do, because that can actually send impulses back into your brain to then cause you to do things. So it's basically, it could
You'd have
be
to have volunteers
abused.
who sign themselves up.
Well, there'd be plenty of volunteers, though. There would be plenty of volunteers.
Probably.
Yeah.
Same with the trip to Mars.
There'd be rights.
The idea of a one-way
There'd
trip
be
to
lawyers.
Mars. The idea of a one-way trip to Mars. You had hundreds of thousands of people volunteering for that. It's not something that I'd do. I don't want a one-way trip to Mars, but there are some people that are just like, yes, bring it on. In the same way that there's going to be people that are going to be like, yes, implants, brain implants.
Yeah.
Bring it on. I'll
Like
be
Elon
happy
Musk.
to be a guinea pig for that.
Yeah.
Oh, not me, though.
Do
Not
people
me.
realise they have to be really, really super fit to get to Mars? Otherwise, they're going to die on the journey.
Well, I think that's a really good point.
Well,
you just
that
brought up.
weeds out.
I think that's a really good
to
point.
tens
you
of
just brought up,
thousands.
Is that I don't think people
Gotta be
really
realistic at
I
the
don't
same
think
time.
people
Absolutely
really
you do.
realize. I think most people are sort of brainwashed with just the idea and the wonder of it, and they don't actually look or think about the real implications.
Yeah.
Maybe because
you think
they
about
don't
it
consider-
deeply. Yeah.
Yeah, they really think about how it's going to affect you, and then how it's going to affect just like humans as a race. Really, if things like this just start to be the normal, if people have things in their brains which are wireless and can be hacked into to actually cause you to, they can, we were saying this before, like ads,
uploading a
right?
virus.
YouTube ads would now be in your brain, and if you didn't pay your monthly fee, you start seeing ads. So your eyes are blocked out, and your brain. So it's feeding straight into your brain. So it'll just show you ads, and then you can't. It's like skip in 5 seconds, so you lose.
No chip in my brain, dude. No chip in my brain. No
That's terrifying.
fucking way.
So you've really got to think about.
Yeah.
All the
aspects of
implications.
I've thought about
all
that.
the implications. That's right.
Totally.
Because we really, I mean, Western society is definitely capitalistic, right? Like that's a real guiding principle of our society. So this whole pay to play thing is really going to come into, unless something drastic changes before this technology is implemented, it's not going to be a utopian Star Trek society, man. It's going to be what we've got now plus implants. So that's, as you said, YouTube ads in our brains, right? Because somebody's got to make money. Somebody's got to pay for it because that's the world that we live in. That's the Western world.
Capitalism, that's right. Whatever is being provided has to be a give and take. Has to be given back.
What's on your mind there, Robert?
Yeah, but at the end of the day, just say no to a chip in your brain.
Just say no. Just say no.
Yeah, I don't want to have a chip in my
I
brain.
don't want a chip in my brain. Oh, God, no.
You're compromising. What you do is you start to compromise individuality, which is the whole point.
Yeah.
Of being.
That's right.
It's like being alive.
Become the Borg.
Having your thoughts to yourself.
Who wants to be Borg? Borg are the bad guys.
Yeah. Yeah, if you've seen Star Trek,
Trek.
The Borg are.
Star Trek, Next Generation
Borg. That's what it is.
Borg, do you know
the
Borg?
Beast.
The Beast.
Yeah, there's lots of images of that.
Lots of images,
the
right
hive
on.
Mind of
the hive mind. No thanks. part of what makes everything go round for us as humans is our individuality, creativity, and individuality. All of that.
Terminator 2 was based on, you know, us creating something crazier than us and taking over.
Well, that's childbirth too, isn't it? Creating something crazier than us.
That's true. It's true. My kids are going to take over.
Let's keep it biological. God damn it!
That's so true. But do you want a machine to take? I'd rather a flesh take over from.
Yeah, flesh on flesh.
Flesh on
That's
flesh.
what we all want. What we're all
Flesh
after.
and flesh. Here we are back at flesh on flesh.
Flash on flash.
So, would you want to be fused with your bass guitar? So, for example, like
I wouldn't want to be fused. No way. No way. Ugh.
No,
would you want to be fused with your drumsticks? Like, would you want to be attached to that forever? Like, no Netflix unless like somebody else puts it on for you because
you do it. You don't, it doesn't have to be that way, right? What I'm talking about is that
What do you mean?
You can go and plug into a bass amp, right, and then play the bass.
Oh, as in through my mind.
In whatever way.
What do you mean?
Somehow, some way, you never have to remember to physically go and take your bass and bring it with you.
That'd be helpful. That'd be helpful.
At any point,
Whoa,
I've forgotten
this is a
before.
temptation
At
he's
any
talking
point,
about.
At any time, you
Maybe
can
AI
play bass. You know, whether you have some kind of amplifier built into you, or you can plug into any amplifier that's in the.
Would I modify myself?
And then you can, I don't know, you can just play bass like you would, but you wouldn't need the actual instrument. Like you've got some kind of technology which would allow you to just be always able to play bass.
No equipment, just play bass with your chip in your head.
But then come okay. So there's the reasons why not. One of them is glitches. Like, what about when
That's
it
right.
starts?
Technology can be hacked.
It doesn't always work the way that we hope it will.
You know why?
And that definitely won't be fixed in my lifetime. And two, kind of falls into the glitch thing as well. Is like there are going to be times where I just don't. I seriously, like when I meditate and I'm trying to clear my mind and I'm trying to stop all these racing thoughts, one thing that always ends up coming back is this sound of the bass guitar. And it's like part of this whole meditation is to clear that sound, right?
Why?
Why?
It's like a chef trying to come home from work and not cook, that kind of thing.
And they don't. They come home and they eat noodles.
We go back to that technology not always working for a second.
Sure.
Right. How is that any different from, say, getting old and then maybe developing some kind of condition with for the rest of your life?
Better the devil you know than the devil you don't. Like,
I
know that biologically I'll break down. Yeah, but I'm not. And so I can't imagine that scenario right now. Maybe there are going to be people, say, with cerebral palsy or some other condition that they can have this chip that they can like move properly or whatever it is. Or a schizophrenic, they can like literally there's a chip that drowns out the extra voices. I'm not in that position. I'm not in that position.
No, of course not.
And
that's an interesting point.
But talking about that, like having the bass guitar thing fused into you. So
in my
say
situation,
if that was part that you were just able to play bass at any time, wherever you were.
It sounds almost like a slave to technology. Because part of the thing is being me as a biological creature.
You're a slave to.
You're
a slave to needing to sleep every day.
Yep,
right? That's you're a slave to your brain's
that's
ability.
That's part of my biology. That's part of something that I have to do.
It's part of yourself that's connected to you. So what if you had that technology embedded inside of you that allowed you to play bass whenever you wanted to without having to have an instrument or remember anything? And that was so much of a part of you. And it could go wrong, just like you could get cancer, you know.
Mm-hmm. You got to die somehow.
You could, put that underneath the same umbrella and really adopt it to be part of yourself. How would it be any different from, the risk
because
of
it's there constantly. The technology is embedded in me.
Yeah,
the technology
sense of smell is there constantly.
Yeah, but picking up an instrument or picking up a piece of technology is not there constantly. And I need to experience things without that technology in order to translate those things to that technology.
You would be able
you reckon?
No, like the way
this
the
is
technology.
okay.
What I'm proposing.
In an ideal world, could I be 1,000% better than I already am? Well, yes. But the thing is, we don't live in an ideal world. We don't have ideal technology.
You never have. You wouldn't want to live in an ideal world. The whole point of
you don't think so?
I think.
Would you want to live in an ideal world?
I think being human is part of being the biggest part of being human is being imperfect.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you were perfect, what would be it would take away really your reason to exist and be individual. Like if everyone was perfect, I don't think anyone would really be individual, because part of being imperfect is wanting.
Whoa.
You start to want you always want.